Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Something Super Spiritual, the podcast. I'm doing something a little bit different this week because I interviewed a new friend of mine. You guys are going to absolutely love her. Sheila Marie is an incredible psychic medium, and her journey is inspiring and so touching. And the work that she has been guided to do, you guys, she's a forensic medium. Absolutely amazing. The things that she's able to do for people, the healing, the unanswered questions that happen with crime, like maybe unsolved murders, missing people, all of those answers that so many of these cases that we see on, like shows on TV, like Law and Order, right? Yeah, she's one of those real life people, and she's just absolutely fabulous. And I meant to have her introduce herself, right? And give us a rundown on her, basically her just mini bio, right? And we got to talking, and once we get going, like there's no stopping that train. So I completely forgot to ask her to introduce herself and talk a little bit about, who she is and what she does. So I wanted to just throw this in here quickly at the beginning. Let me introduce to you Sheila Marie. From a young age, Sheila Marie discovered her extraordinary psychic abilities and innate talent for communicating with the spirit world. Sheila's journey began when her father, a hypnotist, inadvertently unveiled her suppressed sixth sense. Despite resisting her gift for years, everything changed when she was tricked into locating Babe Ruth's long-lost piano by a historian aware of her psychic prowess. Now here's the thing. Like, she tells this story, and it is so interesting. And here I can relate with so much. She talks about that fear of stepping into these gifts, that fear of stepping into this role because of the fear of the judgment, right? What people are going to think, the torch wielding villagers, and she speaks about this in her book. Her book is called Forensic Medium, The Power of the Unseen. And it's amazing, you guys. I highly recommend you getting her book. Look it up on Amazon. It is really amazing. She talks about her journey. She talks about her little nudges from spirit, following those breadcrumbs, getting her to where she is today and who she is today. She's not only this amazing forensic medium helping the FBI and law enforcement agencies, but she's an incredible teacher as well. She teaches others to tap into this innate talent, this innate gift, this innate piece within each and every one of us. You've heard me talk about this 1,000 times. So, sorry, I digress. Let me go back to Sheila. After working as a police officer for 15 years, where she secretly used her spirit guides to solve crimes, she made the courageous decision to leave the force and embrace her mediumship fully. Sheila delved into a remarkable career collaborating with esteemed organizations like the New York City Police Department, the FBI, and other international agencies to solve complex and high-profile criminal cases. With an impeccable record so far, Sheila Marie has successfully resolved over 400 unsolved crimes. Sheila has devoted her life to teaching and has emerged as a spiritual guide for thousands through her mediumship classes, private consultations, and group readings. You can learn more about Sheila Marie at SheilaMarieMedium.com. Forensic Medium, The Power of the Unseen. Highly recommended, you guys. You're going to love this episode. Grab yourself a cup of tea and somewhere comfortable because this is a good one. All right, you guys, we'll talk again soon. Thank you. Sheila Marie, welcome to Something Super Spiritual, the podcast. I'm so honored to have you here. Yes. And I love, well, we're going to talk about the book that you wrote.
Sure.
We're going to talk about your journey and how you got to where you are.
Sure.
it resonates so much with me with the work that I do. You know, I'm a medium as
Yes.
well, and I have
Yes.
this show, this podcast, this YouTube show, and the live YouTube show, and you know, our paths are so similar, even though they might be a
Yeah.
little bit different. But that's what I love about having this platform to have these conversations, because so many
Definitely.
people are waking up to the truth of who we are, right?
Oh, right. Yes.
And your journey rang so many bells within me,
Oh.
as far as like, you know, how your experience, your fear about like what people were going to think of you and what people were
Oh, yeah.
saying, and
Oh.
oh, I mean, hello, you know.
Welcome to my life.
Oh, totally. And then even the, you know, even the when you recognized it was spirit, you recognized it was more. But then when you found, you know, when the student is ready, the teacher arrives, right? And when
Right.
you started in on that, and you're like, I'm not crazy.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
you
I'm
know
not
what?
crazy.
Okay, so
Yes, so thank you.
thank you for the
Namaste.
work that you do.
Thank you for having me.
You're so
Yeah.
welcome. So, you know what? Let's just talk about Sheila Marie as a little girl. Like, what was life like for you? Were you
Hmm.
connected, like dialed into spirits into the crib and all that good stuff?
Well, I was actually, but I didn't understand it at the time, you
Yeah.
know. But I didn't know. My mother used to always say to me, she's psychic, she's psychic. And I used to get so upset because we were very Catholic, Roman Catholic, and you can't go to a psychic or you're going to hell, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh. But as a young child, I was very connected to I just call the universe, spirit, you know, and I spent a lot of time in the woods. Grew up in suburbia in Massachusetts, and I always knew that I was connected, but I didn't share it, you know. And then when I got to be around 10 years old, it really started, the hormones started coming in, everything started getting heightened, and things started taking off, you know. And but when I was about 11 years old, my dad was actually a policeman, and he was learning hypnosis on the side to do hit and run cases. Actually, it was really mediumship, but he said it was hypnosis because, again, socially it wasn't accepted.
Sure.
And I would visit him on the weekends, and he would say, sit down, Sheila, close your eyes. And he'd take me in a meditation. So I learned how to meditate at a very young age. And that's where it really all started taking off for me. Right?
You know what? That's how I learned to meditate too. I went to
Really?
my hypno girl, I would call her. She, you know, instead of going to, you know, conventional therapy, a counselor, I
Yeah.
went to hypnotherapy, and that's how
Yes.
I learned to meditate. So
Yeah.
I love that. Ooh, talk more.
Yeah.
Okay, so what
Oh,
is
yeah. So I started using it you know, in school with work and stuff, you know, like tests and stuff, like, if, you know, thinking positive, started dabbling into the energy. And as a young an adolescent, I used that all the time, you know, so I was getting connected more. I was seeing the negative part of it, the positive part of it, and I was understanding the energy of being positive, manifesting, connecting, you know. And it's a big thing when I teach, the first thing I do is I teach meditation, you know. And
Mhm.
a lot of people will say to me, I can't meditate,
Yep.
I think too much. I'm like, guess what? That's perfect. You're supposed to think. You're a human being. And being conscious is meditation,
Mhm.
right? You know, so I mean, I could go on and off to different types of teaching and stuff like that. But honestly, everybody is connected. Everyone is connected to the
Mhm.
universe and spirit, you know, depending what group I'm talking to. Spiritualists, I was part of the spiritualist church. I taught there, excuse me, I was part of the spiritualist church for a while, and I taught there at the Brockton Spiritualist Church in Massachusetts. And so I started teaching. I saw on one of your podcasts that you go to Arthur Finley
I
School?
did.
Yes. And I'm like, oh, I've been to England too, London. And yeah, so it's a big connection there. And but I forget even what I was talking about now. No, but so everything is energy. And it's so important to remember that we when I talk about spirit, I say the universe now,
Mhm.
because it's just much bigger than just spirit. It's just,
It's true.
it's everything, it's quantum physics, it's string theory, it's energy, it's
Oh,
connection, it's
yes.
mediumship, it's everything. And what I've been traveling around the world, and I've gone to different cultures, and everyone is connecting. Just in every culture, it's called something different.
Yeah, that's it.
you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
I talk about that all the time. We talk about Reiki. Reiki is universal
Right.
life force energy. We
Of
talk about
course.
ki, we talk about chi, we talk about prana, we talk about, it's all the same
Yes.
thing. And whether you wanted
Right.
to call it God or Allah or excuse me, or the universe or the
Yeah.
creator or the great central sun or the sword, it's all the same
Yeah.
thing,
It's
right?
all connection, and it's all translated through the vibration of love, the
Yes.
highest frequency, and it's really funny right now. Actually, Friday I was in Maine, and then I was rerouted. I was told I need to come back to Massachusetts quickly. So I'm here now in Massachusetts, and I'm traveling like that. That's how it's going for me. I'm just going with the flow.
Uh-huh.
And so now I was told that possibly I might be in Salem. And I'm thinking, I've never been to Salem. That's where all the witches are. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not sure I want to go to Salem. You know what I mean? I'm scared. But people classify me as a witch, in this area, because that's your connection is witchy poo, witch
Yep.
stuff.
It's all
Salem
the
witch
woo.
trials, this and that. But yet when I was in India, I'm considered a goddess because I'm a yogini, because I can connect. You know what I mean? So it's just like, which culture do I like best? you
Yeah.
know? So it's amazing. And so I think what for me, for like when I started really coming out professionally, it was a quite a process. And for me is just becoming comfortable in your own inner light system, your own light,
True.
because everyone is going to think something, everyone is going to talk about you. But what's important for me is I work for the spirit world.
Mhm.
I work for the universe. I gave up my human path for my life purpose.
Mhm. Oh yeah, yeah.
And ultimately I work for them, and whatever's meant to be will meant to be. And I look at it this way: when people talk about me and stuff, I'm not too concerned about them, because they don't come to my house for coffee,
Truth.
you know,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I find that for me, I'll just say for me, when it was so hard for me to come out, because I didn't even really know what was happening to me at the time. Like I
Sure.
knew I went to some classes. My sister-in-law. Do you want me to tell you the story or no?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I was seeing lights and stuff, and I was in my
With your
house,
physical
and
eyes.
with my physical eyes,
Got it.
I was in my bedroom, and I was talking to my sister-in-law on the phone, and I said to her, "Is it raining at your house? Because I heard lightning and thunder." And she's like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, that's weird." So I went and I shut the window, and there was rain coming out of the sky. And I said to myself, well, that's a little weird. So I went, sat in the bed, and I looked, and at the end of my bed is like a door that goes into a bathroom. And I said, oh my God, I'm on the phone talking. She's like, what's the matter? She's like, what? I'm like, she's like, what's going on? There's someone in my bathroom. She's like, what? I'm like, I saw a white light with my physical eyes, not my third eye. And it come around the door, and it went back, and I was afraid it would see me. And all of a sudden it flew across the room, and that was it. And so my sister-in-law is convinced I'm seeing spirits, but really I think I saw an energy ball,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
some type of alien or something. I'm not sure. And so after that, my sister-in-law said to me, oh, you got to go see such and such, whatever. There's a spirit guided class. You need to be part of it. Now, my sister-in-law was very new age. Now, you have to understand, I was Roman Catholic, holy roller, have never been to a psychic, never had a reading in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, she's out of her freaking mind. I am not doing that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I took the gift certificate, I put it in the counter. A year later, I said, oh gosh, she's coming for Christmas. I better go take that class, because I don't want to hear the wrath of my Italian sister-in-law. Right. So
Yeah.
so I went to the class, and I get in there, and the woman that was leading the class, what does she do? She takes us into meditation. Well, this time the vibration was different for me, because she took she took it to an uncontrolled state where I was starting to see visions. And I said, oh my God, this is real, right? So I come out of there crying. I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, you should develop mediumship. I'm like, what's mediumship? You're not knowing this. And so she's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I end up taking classes. And that's how I started dabbling into the mediumship and started working with it and taking classes and blooming, and so that happened from one thing to another, and then I didn't realize it was my life purpose.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I came home and I told my husband, I said, I have to do this. And he goes, what do you have to do? And I said, I have to do mediumship. He goes, what the heck is that? Right? We were clueless.
Yeah.
I go, readings and everything. Oh, great. That's just wonderful. So guess what? That was the end of my marriage. Seriously. Yeah.
Oh,
and so it was life-changing for me in many, many ways.
Gosh.
And I said, it's okay. You can divorce me now. I have to do this. I have to teach. My thing was I have to teach people how to connect. If I don't do it, I'm going to die. And he's like, what? I'm like, yep. I go, I think it's called a life purpose or something. A life calling, someone told me, but I have to do this. I will die. And that's really, that was the beginning of me developing, teaching, you know what I mean? And because it really was that strong within me that I'm like, oh, this is why I'm here. I can't even, no one believed me because they're like, Sheila, out of all people, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And so,
It's bonkers. It's bonkers how deep we feel it. And we just know when that calling becomes a yelling, and suddenly we're like, okay. And we talk about this often, and it's out there on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, all the and all of the articles that come through. So many people are talking about the spiritual awakening and how your life completely changes when you wake up to the truth and who we are and who you are and why you're here, and like you said, your husband left, and that happens to all of us. People start to leave when we start to
and the right people come in and it just falls off and you just start to bloom. You shed that skin like a snake.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. That happened to me too.
Oh my God. Right. Yeah. It's amazing. But you know what? I wouldn't change it for the world.
No.
And I never thought in a million years that I would be a forensic medium.
Okay. Yes. We're totally getting to that. That is so fascinating. Okay. So before we get there, so you are recognizing this within yourself. I read in your book, which caught my mind or caught my eye. You said, I think it was something like, to hell with what people think.
Absolutely.
And it's so true. We do get to this place on our insides where it's, you know what? Suddenly what everybody thinks about us is really none of our business. And we're just going to focus on spirit and our service. And here we go,
it's all about serving.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. That is absolutely
it. Really is. And when you serve, you grow too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, always.
And you grow in your mediumship. Like to me, I didn't start getting dreams till my 30s. Like I would get premonitions, but not information about crimes and stuff. Like that was totally unexpected. I'm like, okay, there's definitely a higher source here that's controlling everything because I'm not asking for this. You know what I mean? It's just happening. I'm like, holy cow. You know what I mean? It's amazing what I find in mediumship. Once you go to one level and you complete it and you work for spirit and you do what they ask, then they take you to a next level. But if you don't learn it yet, they keep you there for a while until you bloom, until you get to the next step. And I tell everyone, there's no perfect medium.
No.
At all. I said, because everyone's constantly moving forward and evolving. And I said, and if someone thinks they're perfect, they need to go back to class.
Oh,
because the ego is in the way. That's one thing I do,
This is we're constantly in development and we need to be consciously in development. I mean, this is a never-ending growth and expansion. So if anybody is thinking that they've made it, no,
Yeah, nope. You got to go back to class. I tell everybody the ego, leave the ego. When I have a studio in Medway, and I said, when people come in for classes or I go on workshops or retreats, I say to them, if you have ego, just leave it at the door, because I'm going to knock you out at the knees if you have it, and you're not going to like it. And it's because I love you. It's not because I'm competing with you. I want you to be the best you can be.
100%.
That's like my goal when I teach people how to connect, is I want them to be the best medium or person, or whatever they are. I deal with entrepreneurs, I deal with mediums, all different walks of life.
Yep.
I'm going to help you to be the best that you can be, and help you to tap into that source of energy and break down those barriers that are blocking you, all the fears, and all the mistrust and everything. And I love watching people bloom. That's like my favorite thing to do, is teach people,
Yeah, it's really beautiful to watch them come into their own. I'm not a teacher yet, but I've witnessed a lot of people come into their own.
What's wrong with you? We need to get you going.
I mean, it's coming. It's coming. It's natural within me. It is coming. But yeah, I think that's more next year. That's more
when you start to share, you grow too.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I find it challenges you more.
Yeah. Okay. So you are recognizing this within yourself. You're going to your classes. You're really opening up. One of my questions was, how you ended up in the forensic mediumship aspect, but you had mentioned that your father was a police officer.
Yeah, and I used to be too.
Oh, you were too. Oh,
yes,
so that makes absolute sense. Ooh, okay. So let's talk about this, because this is so. I felt that in me, this ping in me going that direction a little bit.
Okay.
And sure.
That could be why you're being brought to me. I need to help you develop that.
100%.
I do mentorship, just saying.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome. So my dad was police. However, my dad was a hypnotist on the side and would do hit and run cases. I didn't know he was doing mediumship, but my dad chose not to continue that. He chose to be a chief of police instead. So it's two different worlds. It's ego and mind and control are different. So it's hard to be connected, Yeah. So later on in life, I was a police officer as well, because I was from a policing family. And I used to work at Wellesley College. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's the sister school for MIT in Boston. And then, but I worked there. I worked other places as well, but that was my main place. And actually, I think Hillary Clinton went there. That's what I know. Wow. And so anyways, I don't want to bring politics in, but that's the famous college. Anyways, I worked there, and what was I saying? Oh, what was I talking? Oh, the policing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is really interesting. So after I told my husband I'm going to do this, what I did was I rented a place on Sundays an hour away from where I lived, because I had kids. I didn't want anyone to know what I was doing. And people would come to me and I would give the readings all day long. And that's how I started developing me. And that's when I started dabbling into the spiritualist church too, a little bit then. Yep. And it was all introduction, learning this and that. And so anyways, later on, I had another place in actually, I think I was at the mill in Medway, and a person from the Historical Society called me, Sudbury Historical Society, and they said, could you come out on Sundays and stand in a field and tell us what you see? And I said, sure, no problem. So went out on Sundays. It was all documented. Every Sunday I'd go out there and they would document me, and I would start reciting poems and music. I was just channeling, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool, because I was never a student. I never read a book. Only 2 books I read. Seriously, because I was such a feeler. I never could sit still enough for it to read a book. Yeah. So I didn't know much about history. So the things that I was reciting and stuff were things that only like the historians knew. I'm like, oh my God, so it was amazing. So that was kind of cool. Awesome. So anyways, one of the guys, this gets even better. So one of the guys that was part of the Historical Society, he had been searching for Babe Ruth's piano. You know Babe Ruth, the famous baseball player?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of him? Yeah. Oh, and he had been searching for him, and I didn't realize it, but what they were doing is they were priming me to find Babe Ruth's piano. They didn't tell me. They were being sneaky. Yeah. And here I am, just offering my time, going out, and Yeah. So I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah. So that yeah, so they didn't tell me. And now you have to understand the environmental police of the state of Massachusetts had been looking in this certain area. It's called Willis Pond. There's like zero visibility in this pond for Babe Ruth's piano for 30 years. Couldn't find it. So they brought me out to there and because they at this point they had started taking me to new places, and there was a water, and in my mind's eye I saw Fenway Park, the big green wall at Fenway Park, and I said, oh my God, this is that Babe Ruth thing. I don't want anything to do with this. I was in panic. I said, please, I don't want anyone to know what I do. Oh, come on, just give us 5 minutes. It's not a big deal. I said, all right, fine. I'll give you 10 minutes and then let's get back to work. So they put me up on a hill and I picked up a stick, and in my head, I started seeing nautical marks. So I told them the nautical marks, didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, good, that's over with. Now we can move on, because I'm excited about learning the history, right?
Right.
And yeah, well, I didn't know it. They had a permit for the pond. They had state divers the next day. Okay. Yeah, I was like, what? And they went out and they found the veneers of the piano in 10 minutes.
Stop.
Yeah, I'm not kidding you. I was like, holy crap. Hi, my friends. I'm like, how did that happen? Right. But I was you think that would be exciting? I was devastated, because now they had the Herald, Boston Herald. This article went all around the world to Japan, India, Australia, everywhere, about me and Babe Ruth. Everyone knew. It was like God said, you're coming out today.
Yeah. Well, you just got yanked out of that closet.
yes, right. And I was on the news, everything, and I was like, I just wanted to die. That was the end of my marriage, but it was supposed to be a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But to me, it was terrifying. But it was meant to happen.
Yep.
Next thing I know, I'm getting knocks at my door from different agencies, different families. Can you help us find this? Can you help us with this investigation? Can you help us with this homicide? And that's how the forensics happened for me.
Wow.
Yeah. And I never have looked for a crime. I don't do many missing persons. I do a lot of homicides, actually, but I do a lot of big things, world crimes. They come to me. I don't look for them, because I said, okay, universe, just bring me who I'm supposed to help. Mm-hmm. And that's how I do it, because I could go on all day. I don't want to just help me the people I can. Yeah. Next thing I know, I started, I think one of the cases, it was in New York City, and I'll never forget this. Of course, my husband at the time, he's like, he's done, right?
Yeah.
And I start having dreams. I had a dream every night for 2 weeks. So I had to get up and write everything down, show maps, this and that. And I got information in 2 weeks for the whole crime. Yeah, it was just amazing. And I begged God, and, please don't give me any more, because I can't sleep, Yeah. So that's how it happened to me. And then, so sometimes in investigations now, I get dreams. Sometimes I don't. But what I do is I just say, okay, give me the name or give me the area. Don't tell me anything. I don't want to know anything about the crime. I don't want to know anything. I
wouldn't either. No, I wouldn't.
Yeah. Either. And then I just let it, I just live regular, and then just let it happen.
Yep.
And that's how that happened to me. But I use my policing background too. There's a point where a lot of people, I mean, anyone can just do a reading. Mm-hmm. And get information, but I don't do it that way. It's like a whole process. A case can last from 1 hour to 6 weeks to 3 months. You know what I mean? So I just let it happen. I write reports. And when I get information from Spirit, then I write it down. Then I analyze it, and I draw maps. It's just crazy. And then I have a whole report. Here you go. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you, the funny part is usually the first page, always the first page has all the information. It's just about the interpretation. You have to interpret it right and find out. And that's the hardest part, Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's crazy.
So when you are working in this manner, are you getting information from loved ones on the other side, or is this purely psychic work?
I'm getting information from the deceased. Sometimes.
Oh, got it. Okay, got it.
Yeah, from them. Like say that dream, those dreams I had for 2 weeks with this little boy.
Yep.
he was coming to me in the dream. And it was interesting in the dream, when I'm dreaming, all of a sudden football lights will come on. Like I'm conscious in my dream.
Yep.
And I can hear and see it. It's amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's great. So I can differentiate. And so I'm not sure who the controller is that's controlling that. Is the divine? Is it the deceased? It's somebody. It could be my guides. Now that's another question too about guides. I'll talk about that in a second. But it's definitely the divine. The divine is showing
I was
me.
going to say it's your soul. I think it's your soul. I think your soul
Yeah,
it knows
absolutely.
when you need to, like, wake up from that little nap for a moment
Yeah,
on your
exactly.
insides. I'm a
Yeah.
huge dreamer too, so I can completely relate with that.
Oh, see, I was
Lucid
never a
dreaming,
dreamer
and
before.
yeah.
And
Um,
it all happens at the right times, it's
yeah.
crazy.
So I just this is so fascinating for me, and for so many people, obviously. But in those dreams, like when the visitation happens with somebody
Mhm.
you're either looking for or you need information from, um had you already started the case, or is this like in the middle of the case and then they show up and they're
Well,
like, hey, I'm here to help? Or
well, that's really funny that you say that because one time, no, in the beginning, it happened like during the case, that's how I guess that's how spirit presented it to me.
Mhm,
Sometimes now what will happen to me is I'll just know something's going to happen, like clairsentient, like you just know.
mhm, mhm.
And I'll get a dream. And I was just speaking of dreams. I'll get a dream and I saw that was a really weird dream. I'm going to write it down just in case. It happened 2 times. One, I wrote down maybe 3 days of dreams. A woman came into me. She goes, such and such. I said, wait a second. I said, hold on a second. Don't say anything. And I said, hold on. And I went back to my files. I said, does this make sense? She's crying. And I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, here you go. Have a great day. I do a lot of pro bono. I don't do a lot for money because it's through love, it's about helping. And so, yeah, so that was amazing. And it's sad, it's really sad. It's hard. A lot of people say, oh, you're so cool, you're a forensic medium. Like, it's not that cool. I'm like, what's so cool about it? Because most of it is it's all data and information is what forensics is,
Yeah.
and but sometimes the crimes I can taste the evil in it, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And so I just want to get the information and be done with it. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
this is why I don't look for it myself. I let the divine show me because they know what I'm able to do and what I'm not. And I
Yep.
give it to God,
Oh
let
yeah,
go,
yeah.
let God. And yeah. So, oh yeah. So sometimes I get the information before. Matter of fact, one case, God, there's so many. A lot of times now what I'll do is I'll say, like, say a family comes in instead of an agent or something. Usually the agents will just call me and say, hey, Sheila, got something for you. I said, okay, what's the first name or what's the avenue or something? That's all they tell me. And then
Mhm.
I do it. I said, okay, give me 2 weeks. That's what I tell them, but it might be done in an hour or two.
Yeah.
And I just live my life and I'll say, okay, should I go in and ask? I usually don't. I usually don't go in my head and ask my guides. I let my guides show me. So what they'll do is they'll show me, like, I'll be driving down the road and let's see, what's a good example? I keep seeing the same word over and over and over again everywhere I go. I'm like, okay, I got to pay attention, write that down. And then I'll get to the point where I'm like, okay, it's time to sit. Okay, spirit, show me about this name or whatever. And then boom, they start showing me visions or feeling or whatever, however they're showing me in my clairsees, and I'll just write it down or draw or whatever. But it comes real fast.
Oh yeah.
It's like
Mhm, mhm.
so I'll do that, and then I'll be on a high energy. It depends. I'll be honest with you, it's really, I've done hundreds of cases and there's not one case that's ever been the same or similar, so like there might be an outline of it, but never are they ever the same. So I'm amazed every time. I call myself an energy junkie.
I get that.
Yeah, right. You understand, right?
I
Because you get
totally get
high
that.
off of it. And
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, when I'm working on a case, I'm like, and oh my God, this, that, and like, and then my policing from what I've learned, I used to be an investigator, comes out of me. I'm like, and then, but then I have to know the difference. I have to know, am I thinking this? Am I creating this? And this is what I teach in my classes. Is it a controlled vision or an uncontrolled vision? Am I fearing this? Am I seeing the fear? Am I feeling the fear? Uh, I have so a lot of times you have to, for me anyways, when I'm working on a case, I have to stay in check with myself and stay soul, like you would say, stay in my inner light system and not be human and know the difference,
Yeah.
and that's hard, and it's trust my guides. I have a few guides that I used to work with, uh, that died, that were police officers who helped me, who I asked to help
Oh,
me.
that doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, and
Not
there's
at
one
all.
that's dead on, like no pun intended. He's dead on, but but he's wonderful. He helped me, but the key is for me in all mediumship, not just be doing the forensic part of it, is letting go, letting God, but trusting in your higher power 300%, not 100, but 300. Just letting it happen and never ever doubting it or questioning it, because there's a higher reason why things are happening, and by the end of that case everything is connected, and then I can review it, and it's amazing. Yeah, it's really kind of cool.
It really is. It's fascinating. For years we have heard about. Well, we've heard about how the FBI uses psychic investigators, and we hear how police forces are using psychic investigators, and it's not. I don't think it's like really like information that's like talked about that much. But when you're on this side of the topic, we know people who know people, and so it's out there a little bit. And I just love. I love your path, your journey. Like, it is no surprise. You were meant to be that investigator in that time that you were,
Absolutely.
giving you all of that experience.
Oh, absolutely. And
Know-how.
I never knew why I was a police officer, because my whole family was, but I never thought I would. That was just not what I would choose.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's just fascinating. And here you are doing this truly amazing work. I mean, often, I talk about this work that we do with mediumship. It is, we get to participate in miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle, right? And for you, having had that experience as an investigator, and how your guides are nudging you in this direction and nudging you in this direction and and all of a sudden, you're bam, 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 and here you are with that experience thrown at you with Babe Ruth's piano. Like, had you known that was coming, you probably would have shied away from it. You probably would have gotten in your way. You probably would have been like, spirit, the intelligence to spirit is so mind blowing. Our human brains just can't wrap themselves around the vastness, oh yeah, it's just
it's amazing. It's you have to just be humble to it.
Yeah.
Because I think to myself, people will say, that's so cool, you're a forensic medium, Lincoln. All right. No, but you know what I mean? But it's a lot of work. It's because when you do it, like when I teach students, I teach them, like, say, mediumship. So the clairsees, right? Clairvoyant, clairaudient, all that kind of stuff. What I teach them is to work all their clairsees together, so they're a beautiful piano, instead of just one, because we have so many vast areas of mediumship that can all work together. When you do that, you fine tune it. And and a lot of people say I'm clairvoyant. I'm like, well, everybody's clairvoyant. Everybody is, but let's get your piano working so you can do it all at once.
Absolutely. And I talk about that too, that we're the first and foremost, fundamentally, we are eternal spiritual beings, period. So we are all dialed in, we are all connected with all of those connections, the clairs, right? We are firing on all cylinders. We just have to learn what it feels like and what it's like on our insides.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
You got
we're
to connect, you got to work that inner light system
yeah.
to get it going. And I always tell everybody, don't forget, we live in space. You know, here's the planet. And, you know, like we're spiritual beings, you know, and then these bodies are just our astronaut suits.
That's it.
And our soul, our inner light system, our energy inside of us is who we are.
Mhm.
And when these bodies, people say to me, oh, the spirit world, we're in the spirit world.
Mm.
We're
It's
already
all right
spirit.
here. Mhm.
Yeah, we're already spirit. When we leave these, when these bodies don't work, we leave these bodies to another dimension, to different dimensions. And there's, I don't know, I'm sure there's billions and millions and zillions, because everything is quantum, everything is electricity, everything is energy, it's universal, you know. And this is, I tell everybody, this is our life here is one dream, right? Right?
Yeah, that's
Right?
it.
It's true though,
It's
right?
so true.
It's one dream. So why are you worrying?
Mhm.
Just be conscious, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
And it's hard because we're conditioned so much not to be, because that's a form of control. And once you let go of the control of the human world and society's control and all of that, any type of control, then you become one and you can just be, and then your inner light will shine, you know?
Yeah, you allow that inner light to shine, and it's
Yeah.
just so it's so beautiful to come to that other side, to
Oh,
really like, you know, to be in that space of darkness. I use quotes, in that space of darkness where we do believe that this is all it is, and ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and nothing exists except this. And why did I
isn't
get
that
dealt with
sad?
this awful hand? And I, you know,
Isn't that
I grew up
sad?
with, you know, yeah. And it's yeah, but when
Yeah.
we move, we're able to move through that, and the light
Mhm.
turns on and the light turns up, and suddenly we're like, what is happening? And then we
Yeah.
start to attract like-minded people, and all these people start to come at us, and this,
That's
and
right.
then we all have these conversations, and that's why I love having this
Yeah.
format, to this platform, to
Oh,
have
you're so blessed.
these
I'm so grateful for
conversations.
you too, my dear. Yeah. And I find that, you know, it's so true. Energy attracts energy. You know, if I tell everybody, you know, we're all energy. If you're having a bad day, turn the music up, put Christmas music on, whatever makes you
100%.
happy.
Mhm.
Change that vibration, change your manifesting in your mind, change your thought process, change. You can change anything you want to. You're never stuck. Your mind is making you stuck, you know? And a lot of people just don't have the tools, but the tools are there if you pay attention and
Yeah.
if you want them there, you know?
Yep. Yep.
You're the creator of your own world,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, totally. With okay, I had a question
And
a
that's
while
why
ago.
you'll be teaching soon.
I will be. Yes, I
I
absolutely.
want you to teach. When I have a retreat, you can come teach.
All right, love. I will absolutely take you up on that.
Seriously. Yes, absolutely. I would
Absolutely
love
will.
that. I'm always looking for help, and then I can give you your own class. You could do your thing. You're good.
All right, thank you. I'll do that.
Yeah, I would love
um,
that.
okay, so with the forensic mediumship, this question hit me way back when, and now it's coming back.
Really.
Um, when I saw this, that this is what you do, my first thought, even being in this world, you know, I'm not fully versed in all of that. It's on the peripheral for me. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So my initial thought was that you do, you know, mainly like missing people, right?
Right. A lot of people think that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what else does it encompass? You said finding things. So you found the piano, but like what else do you look for?
Yeah. So, well, I have a lot of people that come to me. They need information about crimes or deaths, you
Oh
know? Yeah.
God.
So like they need that missing. I look at myself sometimes as a lead,
Hmm.
and that missing link that they need, that's what they need from that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So missing part like homicides, stuff like that, you know. Or sometimes they just want to know the truth and the characters and the places, but it's more than just doing a reading. Where do they live?
Right.
You know, what's their name? What's their numbers? What's their addresses? Can you find, you know what I mean? So like if I'm working with an agent, they want to know it all. So I can be that the power of the unseen. So that's the name of the book, Forensic Medium, The Power of the Unseen. So the power of the unseen will show me what they're needing to solve that case. You see? So you can do that in a reading, but a lot of times it's forensics too. Like I'll get the information, then I'll have to write it down, then I have to analyze, and I do more than just a reading,
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything you could possibly think of, I've done.
It's fascinating. So did you like go to did you have a teacher kind of walk you through these steps, or did spirit teach you, or you know what I mean?
Spirit taught me.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So I'll have to tell you. So I of course I knew how to do the mediumship, right? And then the guy that I told you about with the Babe Ruth piano, he said to me, now this is before I started getting knocks on the door, you should do missing persons, because he's thinking he's going to make money off of me, right? And I'm just not stupid, but I was very naive, thinking I'll help you. You know what I mean? I don't want your money, but I'll see what I can do in my head. So he shows me a missing persons case, and he doesn't tell me anything about the case. This is how I learned. I learned through him. Well, Spirit helped me with this, and so I'm reflecting now, but so he showed me the person's face. I didn't know her name or anything. I need to know. So I was telling him everything, right? And then he goes, okay, we're going to go find her. And I said, what? Are you out of your mind? Right? He's like, come on, it'll be fun. I'm like, okay, fine. It sounds like, so he goes, he sat in the car. I think he was my angel, he sat he was my guide, definitely. He sat in my car and he goes, okay, where are we going? I said, I'll tell you this. And I boom, boom, boom. So he would ask me a question, and I would ask my police officer friend I told you about where, and he would tell me, and I'd write it down. I drove him. I can't say the name of. So when I talk about cases, now you have to understand these people are still alive,
right?
And there's murders involved, so I have to protect myself.
Very sensitive.
So I'm going to say a different state.
That's okay. Yep.
We drove 2 states away from where we were. And I had no idea. He's like, okay, where do we go now? I'm like, left. This is the left. I had no idea. And sure enough, I drove him right to the town, right smack to the almost where the crime happened. And I was like, are you flipping kidding me? This is so the adrenaline rush is like, wow, So we get out. So that was my first experience with the FBI, because we had to present ourselves. He goes, I have a medium here. I want to. So she's like, I'm like, okay. I'm thinking, they think we're crazy, right? He's like, don't worry, they're used to it. I'm like, okay, fine. So
I was going to ask that, actually. Like, do people go, or are they like, cool?
Well, you have to understand, and me being a police officer myself, it's very ego world, It's all about, so, and when you're open, because when you're doing this, you're really wide open.
Oh, yeah.
You're feeling everything around you, all the people. So I got to the point, not that time, but I had to learn my lessons as I went. But I learned to just block it out now. I don't care. I just focus on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it took a while for me to figure that out, because it was draining.
I can imagine.
So, so we sat in a certain area, and he's like, okay, ask Spirit this, ask Spirit. I'm like, okay. So I wrote everything down. I took him to the place it happened. He didn't even know, so we found out. So that's how things happen. And then what happened is we came up with this report similar to what I've been telling you about, and we presented it to the FBI, and they said, "Oh, great!" And then they found her, and maybe not 50 feet. Yeah, so it was amazing. So that's how it happened. And then later on in life, the man, he had his own business, so he did his own thing. I said, "Oh, how can I do this without him? And I'm not going to do this." So I said, okay. So then I had to get in practice of asking myself what he would ask me. So I have now what I would call a blueprint for forensics, where I teach people how to do it, and this what to ask, this and that, and a procedure, and that's how that happened. It was crazy, but I wouldn't change it for the world. It's amazing.
Yeah. I wouldn't either. Crazy. I wouldn't either for you. It's such an amazing journey and experience.
Yeah, we have a great time when I teach the forensic students. Oh my God. And I put them on mock cases. They say, oh, can I work with you? I'm like, no, unfortunately, I don't work well. I need to just be doing me. That's just me. You know what I mean? No offense, but I have to just be able to live my life. And, but I do mock cases for them, and we have so much fun. Yeah, and it's fun watching them develop into the forensics that they are too, you know. And the thing about it is the key is the mediumship though,
Yeah.
you know, or and another culture would say the connecting to the universe, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yep.
It's developing that to the highest capacity you can, I feel, and getting to know it, knowing the difference between an uncontrolled vision and a controlled vision, and that's key. And getting to know your inner light system is, and once the students get there, then I offer the forensics to them, because you have to develop that. You can't just go in and do a reading, because it's just more than that, you know. Yeah, so I guess I developed my own little style. I guess I never thought of it that way.
It's really cool. It's really cool. When you do this teaching, is it all in person or do you do it online? Like everything is online now?
Well, I do psychic development online now since COVID.
Yep.
So which is great, which actually gives me a great platform to teach globally, which
Sure.
is wonderful.
Yep.
And so I do psychic development online. I also do it in person as well. Right now I'm in transition because I'm relocating my studio. It's in Medway, Mass, but I'm not sure where I'm going. It's either somewhere south, I'm not sure. So I'm working on doing workshops and retreats instead, but I would do that in person too, you know. And mentoring, I do mentorship online. A lot of it is online right now, but it doesn't have to be. It can be in person too, like on a workshop retreat, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. But you can go to my website. It's SheilaMarieMedium.com, and that always has the information there, you know. It's forever changing.
I understand that. It's always in production, you know. It's
right.
Constantly in expansion and
yeah. Oh, I find is I'm relocating because I find that I'm global now. So keeping me in one area is not good. I'm not helping many people that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so I'm hoping in the next 6 months to do some workshops when it comes to psychic development, or like a week workshop or a weekend type of deal. And I've done them at my studio before too. People usually come, but it's time to travel now.
Yeah. Beautiful.
You know?
Beautiful.
Yeah. So
do you when you are doing the forensic work, is it always just locally in Massachusetts, or do you go like elsewhere, like the West Coast?
It's
South?
Global.
Oh, you go everywhere.
It's global.
God,
and I don't have to be there for all of it.
Yeah.
All I need is the name or something. And I'm not the type of person. It depends how if they want me to come, I'll come, you know. But 9 times out of 10, I don't have to be there, because I can see everything spirit shows me in my head anyways, and wherever I'm at, you know.
Well,
and what going there, depending, like if it's a missing person, that's crime, it's kind of scary, to be honest with you. Because people don't understand that. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go out with the dogs. Isn't that? I'm like, I just got to stay focused on my head, and I just need to stay humble to spirit and what spirit wants me to do, you know. But I can get a lot of information, you know. Years ago, nobody even believed in, like, remember the Jetsons? Remember the cartoon, the Jetsons? Of
course. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Well, we live in the Jetsons world now, don't we?
Pretty much.
Like cell phones, like no one can understand. I mean, that's virtual. You know, a cell phone is virtual. That's actually very paranormal when you think about it. Right? So spirit is the same way, you know, and spirit shows you what you need to. It's kind of really cool. I was in India for 3 months at the beginning of the year. And my brother says to me, Sheila, you're at the other side of the world. I said, no, well, not really. It's no different than you being an hour from me.
True.
It's virtual, you know, it's paranormal virtual. I said, we're all existing on the same level and the same energy anyways. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. You know, as quantum physics and string theory, you know, all that tells us is that there really is no time and space. And that everything is happening at the same time, and that, you know, we're all connected in ways that if a particle vibrates at this side of the universe, then something is happening on the opposite side of the universe, and then it's all happened. You know what I mean? So it's like,
that's right.
You know, so it's like, well,
and there's no such thing as time, man-made time.
That's it. Totally. We just need that. We need that so we can get from point A to point B.
A structure. Yeah.
You know?
That's our problem.
Exactly.
And, I tell everyone, don't live in the past, just be present. And that's so hard because we live in such a world where
it is hard. When we're talking about pain and trauma and all that goes with that, and we're stuck in it and caught
and
in
I
it.
do believe that most mediums have had a lot of pain.
Oh, absolutely.
To reach the other side, but they're willing to work through it. And I tell everyone, you can't stay stuck there. You can't change what happened a half an hour ago. So you just need to give it life. So what I tell my clients is, I said, you're having anger, resentment, you're stuck in the past part of you. That's okay. You're normal, you're human. So now it's time to send it love. So now it's time to tell, even if you don't forgive a person or a circumstance that happened in the past, tell them spiritually, I forgive you, even if you don't. And what's happening is you're changing that vibration. So next time when you think about it, it's coming back to you on a newer vibration of love and not that hatred, that deep, dark stuff, it helps to let go, and it's hard, I'm sure, doing many readings, you learn about different people, different circumstances, and a lot of people are experiencing the same things, and we all think that we're alone, but we're not.
We're so not.
Yeah. And we're all energy. We're all love. The purest vibration is love. And sometimes love can be sad and happy and mad and angry, you know what I mean? And that there is dark out there too,
Well, we live in a 3D world. We live in a where we live with polarity, light and dark, fat and thin, tall and short, happy and sad. I mean, we can't know one without the other. So it is there.
Exactly. Yeah. And so what can you do? I said, when the negative is there, it's just balancing things out. You'd like the yin and the yang, you have to have, it's like electromagnet, it's like the positive and the negative of energy comes together and coagulates to make you push through. You can't have just one, you have to have both to move forward, So, so, and that was, and you know how I learned that? This is funny. My parents sent me to electrology school for a year when I was 19. And I learned about positive and negative and how you move forward, electromagnetic, so it, coagulating.
Oh my gosh.
So that was my experience. And I learned biology, everything about science I learned at that school. And then I did policing. So I really do believe that everybody has a purpose.
Totally.
And everyone's life purpose is different. Now, for my life purpose, this was part of my foundation to get me where I need to be, where I am now.
100%. Yep.
So I tell them, I have a daughter and a son, and they're in their early 20s. And I'm like, don't worry about it. In 10 years, call me. I said, everything's going to change. Don't think everything's going to stay the same these years. Because the 20s were like, where am I going?
My God.
Getting pulled like what's that guy's name? Not her. Stretch Armstrong.
Yes. that takes us back.
Yeah, right.
I had one of those, and he popped, and there was syrup all over the carpet.
Oh my God! Now, what is the universe trying to tell you with that? That's the question. Just let it happen. Don't try so hard.
The universe told me that my mother was very upset.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh my God. Yeah, it's crazy. Life is crazy, but you just got to live in the moment, When I went to India, I couldn't listen to anyone. I went there for meditation. I was meditating. Actually, I took this picture behind me, the Himalayas, and I was in the foothills, and I was in the Himalayas, and that's actually smog, which is kind of sad because it's different than it is here, And but I didn't listen to anybody. I had it planned all. The people that I knew who were positive were going to help me get there. And I planned it out, and I went, and I was meditating in caves with yogis, and it was really kind of cool.
Wow.
But that culture, I'm going back again, maybe next year, to do more meditation and learn some more. But I tell you, what an experience that was, And
it sounds life-changing.
Yeah, and it makes you very humble to what we have here too. I didn't want to come back.
Yeah.
you
That's not
know?
surprising. That's not surprising
Yeah.
at all. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm just like, why am I going back?
Yeah,
I mean, I love my children, but maybe they could come visit me. They're old now.
exactly.
But spirit will take you on, even in relationships,
Yeah.
like personal relationships that you have and stuff will be different. And my whole life's changed big time. Nothing what I thought, that's for sure.
A little while back, you mentioned the paranormal. Do you experience the paranormal on a regular basis? And I guess what I mean is
You mean on like in a human, like here or in my
like
head?
yeah, the paranormal over the last 20 years has just exploded, with all the TV, the travel channel
Oh
shows,
yeah.
ghost hunters, ghost adventures,
This is really
blah blah blah,
funny.
all
I
that
have
stuff.
to tell you this.
Yes.
Uh I'm really a loner
Hmm.
and I don't watch TV
Hmm.
because I don't I this is funny because I didn't want when I all the last 20 years I would say I don't watch any psychic shows or anything. And people turn on and say no like that. I said I don't want it. You know why? Because at the time I didn't want to know what people thought of me because I'm a pretty big judge. Like I judge everything. So
Yeah.
if I watch that, I said, "Oh my God, this is what I don't want people to think this of me." You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So I had to block out all of that, and yeah, so I kind of stay in my own world like a hermit, kind of in a sense, which has benefited me, and in some ways. But so, what was your question?
Do you experience the paranormal on a daily basis? Like when you're out and about, if
Oh,
you go
like you mean like something flying across the wall or something? Like
yeah, or let's say you go to a restaurant that's in a 400-year-old building and you feel that residual energy and you might feel,
oh yeah,
Mhm.
I feel everything all the time.
Mhm.
I feel everything all the time. Like I know I'm not alone. Like, and when it comes to like ghosts and stuff like that, and I'll just say, not right now.
Yeah.
What I say to them. Like I was at my friend's house and I had to I was sleeping in her guest room and the light kept on flickering off and on. And I'm like, I'm sleeping right now. I'm like, please not right now. So the next day this is really, you're gonna love this. A couple weeks later, I had a gallery, a gallery, spirit gallery.
Yeah, yeah,
So there's
yeah.
like 100 people
Yep.
and we're all there. And this certain friend is at the door. Maybe this is 2 or 3 weeks later. She's at the door and I'm giving everyone readings and no one's understanding this reading out of 100 people. And I'm thinking, listen, there's a guy here. He's talking about the light going off and on. And all of a sudden I hear, Sheila, don't you remember the light? And I said, oh my God, it was her spirit. Right. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. I like, and that's what I love about spirit is they always catch me off guard. I'm sure this happens to you all the time when you're not expecting it.
Mhm.
I'm like, and like, even during a reading,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, you understand that? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Oh, I totally get that surprise. I mean, we surprise ourselves all the time. Like, how did that happen? We know how it happened, but it's like that really came out of my mouth. Like,
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'm
yeah.
like, where did that come? And I just love, yeah, it's amazing. Like, how like when you work all your clairs, like all but like I love it when like I'm doing a reading on someone and I'm smelling smoke, I'm seeing something, feeling, and it's all happening at one time. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
woo.
I just had that the other day where I started to smell meatballs and like in marinara, and I saw the picture and I saw the feeling of the love of making those meatballs.
Oh,
And I mean,
isn't
that was
that
her love
wonderful?
language. That's how she
Isn't
provided.
that
Oh
wonderful?
yeah, it's
This is what I say to that. Not now, I'm on a diet. I'll say,
yes.
I see my brownies. Stop it. You're triggering. You're making triggers with me.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard. I would say, it can be very lonely.
Hmm. Oh yeah. Been
Yeah,
there,
and
been
yeah,
there many
especially
times.
in the not so much the readings. I
Hmm.
guess I'm just used to that after a while.
Yeah.
But I
Mhm.
would say when I'm doing the cases, I completely, people will say, like, there was a case, actually a missing persons case that was not far from the studio. And most of my cases, if it's missing, they're not even around like where I am. That's like maybe a state away or 4 hours away, but it was right down the street, 2 miles. And this had gone on 4 days. And everybody knew, hey, Sheila, I said, oh, don't tell me. I don't want to know nothing. Don't say anything to me.
Yep.
And they said, it's in such and such town. And I said, I have a contact there. If they know me, whatever. So I said, okay, Spirit, this is really cool. So I said, oh God, I'm just going to have to hide like a hermit. I said, I'm not used to having a case so close to home because it can get really personal because everybody in the whole town, the whole everything, and this was a young man and young teenager. And I said, oh my God, right? I said, okay, what did it? I said, Spirit, if I'm supposed to, just let me know.
Yeah.
So I'm walking out to the parking lot. This is really cool. I'm talking to a guy that works there. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a hawk flies down, almost hitting us. And I hear, and it goes, I said, and then it goes towards the direction of the missing person. And I said, in my head, I said, oh, I'm so doing that case. Right. So I get in the car. I'm home 10 minutes. I get a call from my contact. Hey, Sheila, we've hit, because usually what they'll do is the police, everybody has a life purpose. And what I hope they do is they exhaust that. Then if they need a lead, they come. And that's what happened. In this case, he goes, hey, Sheila, we've been out here for, I think, a week or something, 4 days or something. And could you help us out? I said, hold on, just give me the first name. Because this guy was actually a student of mine who was a police officer, right? And I said, okay. So he knows. So I'm in my bedroom and I'm thinking, oh no, I have no paper, right? And so I see an opened envelope and a pen. So I'm writing everything down, you know what I mean? And I said, okay. I said, I have the first page. Where are you? He goes, come to such and such. I said, okay, fine. So I'm getting there and I'm a little lost. So I find the place. And actually, this is really cool. I'm a little lost trying to find the road, and I pull over to the side of the road. Now, mind you, there's hundreds of people. There's people out there, with missing person units trying to search parties, And so I pull over, and there's a search party, and I said, "Hey, could you tell me where the golf course is?" And there is my contact standing right in front of me. And I said, "Are you kidding me?" And I'm not on the road I'm supposed to be on. He gets in. He goes, "Okay." He goes, "I'll leave my search party." I said, "Okay." So he gets in the car with me. And he goes, "Let's go to the golf course." I said, "Okay, fine." So we drive into the course. You cannot make this up. We drive into the golf course. Out of nowhere, I drive like a Ford Explorer. In front of my car comes a hawk right in front of our car and leads us to I'm not kidding you. And I'm like, this. And he's like, "Do you see the hawk?" He doesn't know this. I'm like, "Oh, if you have no idea." Right. So, yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting chills as I speak.
Me
I'm like,
too.
right now I can, like my head,
Yeah.
like that, and I'm thinking, oh my God. Right. So when I worked on this case, it was amazing. And I helped them. I led them to the area. I didn't find in particular where they go, but I gave them the area, but I went out on this case and I had an enormous. This case is really cool because the birds were showing me. I was writing down information the day before, and I would go out and so what I asked for is landmarks, and they gave me birds. And there it was. There was the bird. It was amazing. It was really so cool. So,
it just gives me chills. It just gives me chills. It's absolutely incredible.
So to me, it's fun. It's like I don't have to watch movies, and like I hear a lot through music. Yeah, and I hear a lot through music. Like I get a lot of information that way too, and so yeah, it's really kind of cool. Like I'll have friends like they'll like really be into watching all this psychic stuff on TV and stuff. And then you can hear the dun 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 with the music, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm frightened. You know what I mean? And I go, I can't watch it because I'll have nightmares. And I said, I can't even watch a horror flick. And everyone makes fun of me. I'm like, no, you don't understand. This stuff is real. I go, why do you want to watch it? It doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, no, thanks. So it's really kind of funny, But being on a case sometimes I'm telling you, I'm an energy junkie. Oh my God. I'm like, when they understand it, blows me in half. I'll have to teach you sometime. Maybe you're going to be
that.
I'll be your mentor and help you because you already developed, Hey.
Yeah. It keeps entering my field. It keeps entering my field. When
it could be a sign you need to pay attention to
those breadcrumbs. Absolutely. The breadcrumbs are there. Yeah. So I know that.
And I think my publicist brought me to you. So maybe this is the reason why.
Yeah.
Higher reasons always.
All the time. All the time.
Yeah.
Sheila, oh my God,
Oh, thank you.
this has been such an amazing hour, and
Oh,
thank
I'm so
you.
glad you had me. Thank you so much for having me,
You're
Jeffrey.
welcome.
It
Thank
was
you.
wonderful. What part of California? In northern, southern, or
Northern Bay Area.
northern?
Hmm.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah,
I should have put the San Francisco Bridge behind me.
oh no, that's better because that's India. That's your
Yeah, and
thing.
I took the picture, so
Hmm.
yeah.
So before we go, please let everybody know again where they can find you and what courses, workshops, classes, anything you have coming up that you'd like to let them know
Sure.
about.
Sure. I do have a beginner psychic development class coming up in October, actually online. You can go, all my galleries, actually, we're going to be having pre-orders for the book as well. And any workshops will always be on my website. It's at Sheila Marie, SheilaMarieMedium.com.
Yep.
And everything you need to know is there. And if you have any questions, you can always email me. I'd be more than happy to, email you back.
Fabulous. I'll have all of
And
that
the
in the
name of
show
the book
notes.
is called Forensic Medium, The Power of the Unseen. Oh, yeah.
Forensic Medium, the
Yeah, so
power
it's
of the
kind of cool.
unseen.
The
You
power
know,
of the unseen. Dun, dun, dun. I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
the unseen world. Well, but it's true. I mean, it
It
is.
is true.
It has that level of, well, unknown because it's unseen, right? So
That's right.
the background music is the dun dun dun.
Yeah. and once we connect, once you connect with that, and then you can do that through meditation. You don't have to be a medium. A lot of my students come to me that are entrepreneurs, just regular people want to grow spiritually. And for my life purpose, of course, I do the forensics, but my life purpose, my calling is to teach people how to connect, because everybody is able to. Everybody is at different levels. Some are beginners, some are advanced, some are semi-pro, but everybody's able to connect to the inner light system. And shame on me and shame on you, Jeffrey. You need to be a teacher now. I think
Agreed.
Spirit's calling you to this.
Yes.
And because everyone's able to connect, and it's their birthright to connect. So this is why the teachers are coming to teach you how to connect, because this is who you are, and everything that you're looking for in the universe to make your life better. We get the beautiful house, the beautiful car, but we're still not feeling it. It's because you need to connect your inner light system and tap into your soul and your connection to the universe, because that's where pure love is and satisfaction. So once you tap into that, your whole life will bloom, and you won't have to search anymore. You'll just be able to just be, and it's everyone's birthright to know that. So it's us teachers, Jeffrey, that have to teach them this. But you're teaching through your podcast, though, too.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And that's like, I couldn't have a podcast because it's just not in my forte, but that's how you're teaching everyone, through other people and through yourself as well.
Yeah. It's just a passion for me. I just want to share everybody with everybody, because everybody has a different experience, a different journey, a different calling. And there's so many of us waking up that, it's not just one person. One teacher is not going to resonate with everybody. I'm not going to resonate with everybody. You're not going to resonate with everybody. So let's get everybody out there and let's, share the wealth of people. And
yes. And that's your calling. And that's how you're teaching people, which is wonderful. You're being a medium in a medium itself.
Yeah. Sheila, I am hugging you from here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be in touch again next week. You've been listening to Something Super Spiritual. Thank you again for listening to the Something Super Spiritual podcast. If you know someone who would enjoy this episode, please do share it with a friend. For show notes, links, and to purchase a mediumship reading, my website is somethingsuperspiritual.com. You can also easily subscribe and follow the show on your favorite app, sign up for my newsletter for bonus content, and to keep the conversation going, you can easily join the Facebook community. It's all right there at the website, somethingsuperspiritual.com. Signing off for now, namaste.